Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh, it's just beautiful, it's beautiful to watch it all fall apart. Kind of reminds me of the Dark Knight scene where the Joker's walking away from the hospital as the hospital explodes. In this case, Donald Trump's the Joker, and the hospital represents the lawfare sham that the Democrats presented. It's all frickin' falling apart, and today, Judge Merchant, overseeing the pathetic disgrace of a case brought by Alvin Bragg, his Frankenstein resurrected New York hush money abomination case, while the judge sentences Donald Trump officially, gives him no jail time, supposedly even wishes Donald Trump good luck in his second term. It was all a sham, it was all for nothing, folks. A horrible betrayal of the justice system. But in the end, we finish on a positive note because, the people and Donald Trump get the last laugh, the last word. And that's actually exactly what happened here, as Donald Trump was given a moment to comment in front of the court, and he completely excoriated the judge, the case, the prosecutor, to their freaking faces, as he's probably getting his stuff packed up, headed from Mar-a-Lago to DC, straight to the White House. The Democrats want to run with this talking point that this is some sort of stain on Donald Trump's record. He's officially a convicted felon, blah, blah, blah. Donald Trump gets the last laugh. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so breaking. Donald Trump does what Donald Trump does best. He completely owned the room in his sentencing.
This has been a very terrible experience. I think it's been a tremendous setback for New York and the New York court system. This is a case that Alvin Bragg did not want to bring. He thought it was, from what I read and from what I hear, inappropriately handled before he got there. Now, if you look, my attorney alluded to it, the top legal scholars and legal pundits in this country, the ones that are quoted all the time on television, that are making their views felt, and highly respected people. These people are not exactly friends of mine, to put it mildly, but they all said this is a case that should have never been brought. It's an injustice of justice. It's my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work. And the people of our country got to see this firsthand because they watched the case in your courtroom. They got to see this firsthand, and then they voted, and I won and got the largest number of votes by far of any Republican candidate in history, won conclusively all 7 swing states by millions and millions of votes. And they've been watching your trial, so they understood it. They talked about business records, and the business records were extremely accurately counted. I had nothing to do with them. That was done by an accountant or a bookkeeper who I think gave very credible testimony and was corroborated by everybody that was asked. And with all that's happening in our country today, I got indicted over calling a legal expense a legal expense. It was called a legal expense. I just want to say I think it's an embarrassment to New York, and New York has a lot of problems, but this is a great embarrassment. I believe that this and other cases that were brought, as you know, the DOJ is very much involved in this case. It's because that's the political opponent they're talking about. But in the meantime, I won the election in a massive landslide, and the people of this country understand what's gone on. This has been a weaponization of government. They call it lawfare. Never happened to any extent like this, but never happened in our country before. And I'd just like to exclaim that I was treated very, very unfairly. And I thank you very much.
Absolutely freaking based, and obviously the main point of his argument was built on the backs of the voters, and I'll tell you, that checks out to me. The voters of this nation rejected you completely. That's basically the message that Donald Trump sent to the judge, and that's exactly it. The American people rendered the final verdict, and it certainly wasn't the verdict that Rachel Maddow was looking for. They were so confident that they were going to take this man down. How many times was it the beginning of the end, the walls closing in? Oh, Donald Trump's going to prison. Alvin Bragg and Judge Merchant, they thought they'd have the last word, but instead, what did we see? We saw the most powerful rebuke possible by the will of the people. And Trump walked into that courtroom with, 78 million votes? A massive 2024 mandate coming, and he basically gave them the biggest middle finger ever manifested, collectively manifested. And again, rightfully frickin' so. This case was pathetic. pathetic, and I know the Democrat drones that are literally being paid to tweet are looking for a slam dunk here. Little DNC bot Harry Sisson, for instance, is here tweeting that today marks the day that Donald Trump is officially a convicted felon. But this case was a sham. And just building on what Trump was saying in the courtroom, invoking the name of someone like Jonathan Turley, for instance.
I believe that there are layers of reversible error in this case. And what is often the case is you see judges committing errors like this, and then they try to sort of do a Charlie Brown with the football motion, and at the last minute put in an instruction to clean it up. I don't think they can clean it up here. So what Mershon is suggesting is I'll instruct the jury on all of the references to campaign violations. I think that's coming really too late. This jury has been told over and over again, from opening argument to Pecker to Michael Cohen to the prosecutors, the judge has allowed them to say there were election violations. I'm quite convinced that that jury believes that there were election violations, even though none have occurred in this case with regard to Trump. Well, I certainly agree that this case should never have been brought. I think the former president is correct. This is a political case. It's a case based on rather novel interpretations of the law. I'm not too sure those interpretations will withstand review. But I think that the case is overtly political. It was the weakest of the cases, in my view, to go forward. So I believe the former president is right on that front. The question now is how these appeals will play out. The president has a rather target-rich environment with this trial. There are a lot of things here that I think could be reversible. In some respects, I expect people in the Trump camp almost quietly hoped that Mershon would continue his record in the case. Mershon was quite one-sided in his rulings. I sat in that courtroom and I was astonished by how he consistently ruled against the Trump team, even when, in my view, they were clearly correct in the motions that they were making.
This case was presented to the American people, and top legal scholars like Jonathan Turley exposed the truth. I mean, we covered this stuff for months. Even CNN's legal analysts mostly couldn't defend these sham trials. The case was presented to the people, and it was utterly destroyed. And I guess now the question is, what path do you take? And mostly I'm talking to Democrats. Do you scavenge for coins? Desperately claiming on to this failed political lawfare campaign, defending the absolute corruption, the rot of the justice system, because that's certainly what Harry Sisson and his friends are doing? Or do you wake up? Do you wake up and see what happened? Do you realize that the people voted for Trump despite all this garbage? Do you maybe wake up and realize that maybe the people, the collective, might have actually been on to something? Trump is absolutely right. He once again sticks it to the man. In my view, it's another historic moment. I mean, we're witnessing history in the making. From Donald Trump standing up and saying, fight, 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 after he was shot in the frickin' ear, to now showing up in court and mirroring that classic Elon Musk message.
Go yourself.
This case should have never been brought, and those defending it, those still clinging to it, should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. Donald Trump collects another fantastic W. I guess it's just another day in this new era that we've stepped into. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.